Everybody who's just joining, if you can hear, is we've been introducing Lauren Gancarz from Transparent Language Online, and we've been going around telling her who we are. But I think what we'll do is go ahead and get started since we're about 5 minutes after the hour, and we want to give Lauren maximum time. So I'm going to turn it over to Lauren. Welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. So my name is Lauren. I'm with Transparent Language. I've been with Transparent Language for just about 10 years. Next year will be my 10-year anniversary there. So it's been some time. So I'm going to do a live demo of Transparent Language Online for you. I'm going to...
Sorry. I just muted you accidentally, Lauren.
That's all right. I'm back. Am I back?
I'm so sorry. I thought I was muting somebody that, of course, you signed in as AG or LG. So anyways, I was hearing some noise, so I muted some. I think maybe it was David Ulrich. You want to mute yourself? Okay, keep going, Lauren. Sorry.
Cool. No worries. So I'm going to do a live demo of Transparent Language Online for you. But if you have questions at any time, feel free to interrupt or put a question in the chat, whatever makes sense for you. I can also leave a little time at the end to go over anything. So let me get my screen pulled up here. So Transparent Language Online is the language learning resource that you have available through Mid-Michigan Library League. This is a completely web-based language learning resource. So your patrons can access it from home, which I understand maybe some libraries are closing again as of recently. So they can access it from home, from work, from, I guess if they're, renting a home somewhere and vacationing somewhere to get away from things, they can use it there too, wherever they have an internet connection. So the Transparent Language Online resource has over 110 languages available for learning a new language. The language screen that I'm looking at here, this is the language selection screen. So you can see these are the available languages in Transparent Language Online. Some of these languages have multiple dialects available. So if you're looking at a language like Arabic, let's say, Arabic has a few different dialects. We have Modern Standard, Egyptian, Iraqi, Levantine. So we have different dialects available for some languages, and those dialects are listed under the language name. Also on this language selection screen, you'll see another flag. It says Kids Speak available. Kids Speak is our children's language learning program for young learners in grades K through 2. And this is also included with your subscription to Transparent Language Online. So you basically get an adult version. I'll call it an adult version, or an older version of the program, and you get a kids version. But the Transparent Language Online program is really for learners in grades 3 and above, so not necessarily adults. And we have content that is good for everyone. So we have everyday content in the program. We also have travel content in the program. We have business vocabulary. There's just, and then there's like content that's geared towards young learners as well. So you have the Kids Speak that's good for learners in grades K through 2. We also, in some languages like French and Spanish, have content that is specifically geared towards elementary aged learners and high school and middle school aged learners. There's a lot of different content available for your learners. So I'm going to dive into French. French is a language that I know a bit of, not a ton, as we were talking about this before everyone came in, but I have some, I'll be able to get through some of these activities pretty well. So a couple of different aspects of Transparent Language Online. When a learner selects a language to learn, they're going to be brought to a dashboard that's going to look something like this. My learning dashboard already has some progress in it, so that's why you see some things already filled in. But new learners would just have a completely blank dashboard. And a couple different areas on the dashboard that I want to highlight for you. We have a learning path. So the learning path in Transparent Language Online is a set of pre-populated content for the learners. The learning path comes, like I said, pre-populated with content, but learners can add content to their learning path. They can remove content from their learning path. They can move content around on their learning path. So Content can actually be like drag and dropped around. So if learners want to put, content that they're most interested in learning towards the top of the learning path, they can do that. We also have a goals panel in Transparent Language Online. So the goals panel allows users to set a personal learning goal for themselves. So if you have a goal of coming in and learning a new language, spending 15 minutes a day learning a new language, you can set a goal for yourself to allow you to basically hold yourself accountable for that time that you want to spend every day in the program. The learning goal can be edited. So they don't have to pick 15 or 30 or 60. They could pick, any amount of time or set a specific number of minutes. So if I want to change this to 5 minutes, let's say, if I just want to give myself a quick 5 minutes of learning a new language, I can do that. So the learning goal is very flexible for the learner. And I highly recommend, encouraging learners to set a learning goal, because that holds them accountable for coming in every day and using the program for an amount of time, and that helps to get usage numbers up, and it just kind of keeps them learning, using the program, and coming back to the resource. Also on the learning dashboard, we have an area called Learned Vocab. Learned Vocab is an area where it's a chart that keeps track of everything that you've learned along the way. So as I learn words and phrases in French, I'm going to accumulate learned vocab, and those learned vocab will be added to this chart here. So over time, this chart will fill in as I learn new words and phrases, and the program is going to use an algorithm to determine how long it took me to learn particular words and phrases. So if I learned a new word or phrase very quickly, it's going to space it out a little bit longer before showing me that word or phrase again here in my learned vocab. So what that means, content that you learn most recently is marked as fresh. Content that is marked stale is basically determined by an algorithm based on how long it took you to learn the content. So it's going to mark a word or phrase as stale, meaning it might be time for you to review that word or phrase. So it's prompting you to refresh those stale words and phrases to move them from being stale to being fresh again. So that's a way to also keep learners coming back to the program to make sure all of their words and phrases are fresh at any given time. And the chart will, it will change as you learn, as you review those words and phrases. You can also view all of your words and phrases that you've learned along the way, just by clicking learn or managed, excuse me. So you can see all the words and phrases. So it's kind of cool just to be able to come in here and just, cruise through your chart here and just see what you've learned, and how many words and phrases and what you've learned. You can see here that this tells me when it's going to be marked as stale again. So just, it's kind of a cool area for learners just to come back and see what they've learned. And the last part of the learning dashboard is the practice panel. The practice panel allows users to hone in on one particular language skill. So the great thing about Transparent Language Online is that it teaches all 4 core language skills. It teaches listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Writing is a component of other language learning programs that's often left out of the learning process. You don't necessarily find writing and typing activities in other language learning programs, excuse me. So if you have learners coming into the library or inquiring about, learning a new language, but only wanting to practice their speaking skills or their writing skills, the practice panel is a great place for them to go to do exactly that. So I can come in here if I just want to practice my speaking skills. I can select an activity, and then I can select the content if I know what kind of content I'd like to focus on. And then I would start a practice session with just working on my pronunciation of those words and phrases in this particular lesson. And the practice panel differs from the lessons that you find on your learning path in that the lessons on your learning path are going to have activities that teach all 4 language skills versus the practice panel where you're just focusing on one particular language skill. So the lessons include, different activities to teach the different language skills. Practice panel is just where you go to focus on one particular skill. One area I always like to highlight in any of my presentations is the Browse tab. The Browse tab up here at the top of the screen, this is where you go to find all of the available content for a specific language. So I like to highlight that. I love to stress that. I can't stress it enough sometimes, but go to Browse because that's where all of the content for a language is contained. What you see on the learning path here, this is not necessarily all of the content available for a particular language. So if we head into Browse, this is where you can see all of the available content. The Browse area has different categories of content. So the categories have descriptions available. They also have tags available as well. So tags can be level of content. So this is beginner. Some of these have intermediate tags. The age groups that this content is good for. You see K through 5, middle school, adults. You may also see information on the topics that are covered as well. So this is just a great place to go to see the content that is available. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you're working with your local school district, or maybe to just encourage either the teachers in your school district or even the students in the local community to come in and learn a new language, we do have content for certain languages that is specifically geared towards elementary and middle and high school aged learners. So if we just come into this elementary vocab in French here, you can see there's a description of this content a little bit more in depth. Talks about total number of words and phrases in the content, also talks about number of hours of study. So this particular elementary course, the 3 levels, has 75 hours of study. So there's a lot of hours that can be spent in the program. For some of the courses that we have too, we also have workbooks. They might be student workbooks, they might be instructor handbooks, it could be instructor scope and sequence documents that would be interesting to the teachers in your community. So I recommend just taking a look, drilling into the different categories that might be of interest, either to you or to the learners in your community, just to see what is available. But there's a lot. I'm just looking at French right now. So there's a lot of content available in French. Content will vary by language, but this is some of the content you might expect to see.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I wanted to know, can you see in Browse what stuff is in your learning path?
Yes, you can. So for instance, if I come in here, I know what's on my learning path right now. If I come into the essentials course here, as I'm drilling in, oh, that was a bad one to select, of course. Let me see, let me go down a little further. So as you drill into Browse, you can see that these particular lessons have a little minus button. That means they're on my learning path already. And if I hover over it, you should see a little tooltip that says remove from path. So if I just removed it from my path, but I can always add it back. So any lesson that has a minus next to it is what's already on your learning path. And anything that has a plus next to it means that you can add it. So I can easily add something right back to my learning path by clicking the plus button. So any content that a user comes across that they're interested in, they can just click a plus button in the category or in the lesson name to add it to their path. That was a great question. Thank you. So definitely just take a look at Browse, see the available content that's available for different languages. I won't go through all of the different aspects because I do want to get into a couple of the activities in Transparent Language Online, but we do have a way for users to print a transcript report of their learning progress. So this is basically a self-reporting report where they can come in here, they can run a report on their own progress at any time. So I can run a report for any date range that I'd like. And the transcript report could be used for if you have students that need to report their learning history back to a teacher, maybe for extra credit, let's say. Sometimes we also have users that use transparent language online for their employer for business purposes. So their employer asks them to study a particular language. They can do that as well. Through here, learn a language and then run a transcript report to show what they've been working on. So there's a lot of different options available for the transcript report, but it just allows users to see what they've learned, what they scored on assessments, what they have in progress. So it allows them to just kind of get a digest of their learning history. And if a language has KidSpeak available, they would see this KidSpeak tab at the top here. So KidSpeak is only available in 6 languages: English, French, Spanish, Chinese, German, and Italian. I think I just got them all. So if a language has KidSpeak available, like I said, there would be that little KidSpeak flag on the language selection screen, but you'll also see the tab here. So KidSpeak is our animated, immersive language learning program for young learners. So I am going to launch KidSpeak very quickly. This is going to be very musical. So it's very cartoony and musical for young learners, but it's very interesting to them. So I'll show you just kind of what it looks like, and I won't dive into the activities with KidSpeak. We'll come back to Transparent Language Online, but just so you can see what the children's language learning program looks like. So stand by for lots of music and lots of animations.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Claudine. Voici ma chauve-souris. On va apprendre le français. On va s'amuser.
So that's KidSpeak. Like I said, it's totally immersive. It's animated, really good for young learners in grades K through 2. Though adults can use it. So if you're interested in learning with KidSpeak, you're more than welcome to. If you have learners that just prefer to learn with an animated program like this, it's totally fine. They can use it. It's just really meant for younger learners. So the activities are a bit more basic than you might find in the regular Transparent Language Online program. So you're going to learn like the alphabet and numbers, and you're going to sing songs and learn about animals and things in your backpack. So KidSpeak is really good for younger learners just to kind of get a nice foundation in the language that they're learning. So I'll go back to the main program here, and let's dive into a lesson in Transparent Language Online. So any lesson can be launched by clicking the Learn button, and it doesn't have to be on your learning path. You could have found it in Browse too. So you click the Learn button, and it's going to launch a particular lesson. Every lesson has help overlays available. So you're going to have help overlays that instruct what you're going to be doing in this particular activity. So in this particular activity, this is just a language comparison activity. So I'm just going to be reading and listening to the French word or phrase and then seeing the meaning in English. So it's going to help me kind of make that association. And in this particular activity, I'm seeing all of the words and phrases at once that will be presented to me in the following activities. So I can come in here, I can just, I can play each of these words and phrases individually.
Un jour. Aujourd'hui.
Une semaine.
And I can go through all of these words and phrases just to familiarize myself with the content before I go into other activities. So when I think I'm ready, I hit done. And it moves me on to the next activity. In this particular activity, I'm just focusing on one particular word or phrase. I'm not seeing all of them at once anymore.
Je vais.
So again, I'm just familiarizing myself with the words and phrases.
Bientôt. 3. 3 semaines.
If any of these particular words or phrases have grammatical notes or anything like that,
Avec vous.
they might be listed underneath the word. You see in green down here. Sometimes there's also a little hint on the side.
À bientôt. Bon voyage.
So I can keep finishing this activity. And then it moves me on to the next activity. At any time, if a user gets to an activity that they don't want to do, they don't have to. So Transparent Language Online is really great in that users don't have to continue, in order with the activities. They can jump around from activity to activity. So if I click the menu button up here, it's going to open up the menu of activities in this particular lesson. You can see which language skill will be practiced here by the different little icons. Some lessons will have 8 activities, some will have 10, some will have 7. So the activity flow will change with the different lessons. So you're not going to be repeating the exact same set of activities over and over and over again. Some of them will be the same, but we mix in other activities to help with the learning process. So one of the great activities I like to highlight is the pronunciation practice activity. This is where I actually get to come in and compare my pronunciation to a native speaker. So we walk users through a microphone setup to get them started. Testing 1, 2, 3. Just to make sure that their microphone is good to go before they get to the activity. It helps reduce frustration. So now I'm here, I see the word or phrase, I can listen to the native speaker, and then I'm going to record my pronunciation.
Un jour,
Un jour. Might need to move this a little. I have to move my microphone a little closer. Un jour. So it's going to show me my sound wave in comparison to a native speaker. It's also going to give me a rating, and I can continue to record that until I feel very comfortable with pronouncing that word or phrase, or I can move on to the next word or phrase.
aujourd'hui,
Aujourd'hui. So it's just going to continue comparing my pronunciation. Depending on how your microphone is set up, the sound wave might look a little bit bigger than mine. I think I'm just my particular microphone setup right now. But you can keep comparing. You can replay your pronunciation. You can replay the native speaker pronunciation. So it's a really cool activity, and a lot of users like to be able to see that sound wave, their pronunciation in comparison to a native speaker. Another activity that I like to show is our dictation activity. So this is a writing activity. That's weird. The activity did not change. Huh. Let me try this again. There we go. So in this activity, I'm actually going to be practicing my writing and typing skills in the language. So
un jour,
I'm hearing the word or phrase, and then I can either choose to use the native keyboard to type this. So this is included in the program. I don't have to install anything on my device just to get this keyboard to display. So I can choose to use the native keyboard, and it does map to my existing keyboard that I have. So I can type on my keyboard. I can click or tap with my mouse or finger if I'm on a tablet. It just depends on what the user would like to do. So I'll fill this one in. If I get to a particular letter or character that has accents associated with it, it'll prompt me with the available options, though I don't have to select it. So it just kind of helps where users don't have to remember like a keyboard set of key configurations to type an accent. So I'll type this.
un jour,
Une semaine.
And it moves me on to the next one. For some users, the full keyboard might be too overwhelming to them. If they're maybe a very beginner level learner, and that might be too overwhelming, they can hit this switch here and turn on our easy typing feature.
Une semaine.
Easy typing presents them with a smaller set of letters or characters to choose from to fill in the individual spaces. So I will just select the letters to fill this in.
Une semaine.
aujourd'hui,
And I can very easily switch between easy typing
aujourd'hui,
and the full keyboard with just the click of that little switch here. So easy typing is really good for very beginner level learners who maybe are just not comfortable using the full keyboard just yet. So the typing activities are really cool. The pronunciation activities are very cool. I highly recommend just taking a look at the different activities that are available in a particular lesson just to see. Again, users don't have to go in order. The program does save progress along the way. So if I start using an activity and then go on to a different activity, it'll still save my progress in the previous activity. So I don't have to finish the activity to get credit or for it to remember where I was. So a couple more things I want to highlight. You can actually see this is cool. We just spent some time in the learning activity and I got 7 minutes towards my 15-minute goal today. So very cool. So you can kind of see how that works. A few other things I'd like to highlight quickly in the interest of time. Transparent language is fully mobile responsive, so it does work on your computer, it works on a tablet web browser, it'll work on your phone web browser, and the learning progress syncs across devices. But we also have mobile apps that are available. Mobile apps are available for iOS and Google, Android devices, iOS and Android devices. So we have those mobile apps that are available. Information about downloading the mobile apps is included in the program. Users authenticate the app with their username and password that they created in the in the web version. So they need to have a username and password already created to access the mobile app. But once they do, then they can just use the app on their particular device. And the learning progress syncs across, from the app to the web browser version as well. So they're getting that syncing of progress.
I do have a question. How do we access, for example, the QR code to be able to put that on our webpage, for example?
The QR code is specific to each individual learner, actually. So I wouldn't put that on the website. However, it's still a good question. One other thing I wanted to highlight was our marketing kit that's available. Okay. So we do have a digital marketing kit that's available. We have a lot of resources. We have logos for your website. We have social media images. One of the things in the handouts section is, we have a KidSpeak access guide, so that's kind of cool. But we also have the downloading the mobile apps. There's information about how to download the mobile app for your users and steps that walk them through it. So
we could post those handouts, for example, to our webpage.
Yeah, okay. You definitely can. I think I should be able to put this in the chat area. Let me try that.
Yep.
So I just put the link to the marketing kit in the chat area here. So if you want to go in and take a look at it, I highly recommend it. The marketing kit has a lot of resources available. One of the other cool resources I like to show, actually, it's under social media. If you have Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram for your library, we do have a lot of pre-made and pre-formatted images and resources for you. So if you'd like to post a video to Facebook or Twitter about transparent language, you don't have to go out and make one yourself. We have videos that are already available for you that you can just download and then upload right to your social media. We also have cover photos for your Facebook. We have images for different holidays and events and languages. So, you can download these for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and take advantage of them. So highly recommend just taking a look at the marketing kit just to see what is available. And then, so the marketing kit's available. And then one other thing I wanted to make sure that I highlighted for you is on the language selection screen. So users can change a language at any time by clicking the language name and then clicking more languages. So if they start learning a language that they're not interested in anymore, or just, maybe they wanted to learn something different, they can always come back and change their language very easily. If you have a lot of non-native English speakers in your community, maybe they're learning English, we do have ESL or ELL content available for speakers of over 30 different language pairings. So we have content that is specifically for at the beginner level that's paired. And then once they're past the beginner level, it uses an immersion, So it uses English to teach them more English. The English content that is available, I'm just pick a language. Again, take a look at the Browse tab. That'll give you an indication of the level. So even if you select a language pair, like I just selected English for Spanish speakers, you'll have beginner level content in here. but you'll also have intermediate and advanced content that's available. So it's not going to be paired. It'll still, that intermediate and advanced will be immersion content, but we're just making it visible to those learners in case they selected that language pairing. One of the really great English immersion courses that I just want to show or just talk about real quick is the advanced content. We actually have content meant for professionals who are learning English. We have finance, medical, and sales and marketing content available. So this is just really cool for, you know, working professionals who want to get a little more, just a little more advanced in their English skills. And then for your English learners, if you do have an English ELL community, we do have an American citizenship test prep course available as well. So this is a really cool course that covers different topics and teaches different vocabulary, words, and phrases to help prepare them for the American citizenship course test. So, or American citizenship test, excuse me. So that's, I'm pretty much at my 30 minutes now. So there's a lot in Transparent Language Online. I highly recommend just diving in and taking a look at it. And again, the marketing kit, I put a link in there as well. So, and I think Cheryl, there's a link to the actual Mid-Michigan Library League Transparent Language Online account on your website. Is that correct?
Yes, there is. And I probably should have popped it into the chat. So let me work on doing that in a second.
I do have one question, and I apologize if I missed it. How
That's
do
okay.
we as a library log into TLO?
That's what I'm going to put on the.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cheryl will put that in. I believe we set it up with barcode authentication. Yeah, we did. We set it up with barcode authentication. So Cheryl gave me the information about the different barcodes configurations for each of the different libraries. When you go to the actual page, I can actually click I can click it and just show you. This is your particular login page for Transparent Language Online. New users would click the sign up tab to get started. They still have to pass authentication to sign up. They enter their library card number. And then when they create an account, one of the questions in the account creation step is actually which library they're associated with. So we do kind of get that information going forward for new users as well. And existing
I meant
users.
more, is there an administrative piece for us? Or is this only available? So we would only be as a library, we have to create our own login with our personal number. There's no administrative login for libraries individually.
There, I think what you're asking is to get statistics and that kind of thing. And that's something that I will run and post on the website because we chose to have just one URL instead of a separate URL for each individual library.
Right, I knew that. I just wasn't sure, for example, to access the marketing piece, anybody who can do that. Okay, perfect. I didn't know if it was turned off for everybody or not.
Cool. The marketing kit is completely accessible to anyone. You don't have to be an administrator. It's not password protected. There's nothing proprietary. Like there's nothing that's crazy out there that we don't want other people to see.
Awesome.
We'd love for you. So feel free to pass the link to the marketing kit on to your, if you have a marketing coordinator at your library, or if you are the marketing coordinator or social media person, pass it along. There's a lot of great resources in there.
Can you show one more time? Because I'm assuming on the screen, we've got you signed into your account. How do you get to that marketing kit again?
It's just the link that I posted in the chat area. So there's no link from within the program itself to this from the learner portal. So it's just the link in the chat that I dropped there. So if you want to bookmark it or anything like that.
I also want to interject here that I have a page on the MMLL website just for Transparent Language Online, and that's that second link I put down there in the chat. And so there's links to the marketing stuff and other stuff there. So if you're ever in doubt, just you can also go to MMLL website and look around.
Awesome. Are there any other questions that I can answer for anyone? Well, if you do have questions as you dive in or start looking at it, feel free to reach out to me. I can actually put my my email address in the chat here.
Good. And Lauren, while you're doing that, I'm going to ask you a question. So
Yeah.
We have given you all of the barcode, prefixes and the length of the barcode. So presumably when somebody's setting up an account, they will be recognized in your system. If the patron is not recognized and they go to the staff at the library and say, how come I can't use this? What is the staff to do?
They can send me an email. It's possible that maybe we just don't have, maybe you've added a barcode recently. I know some libraries have even created new barcode combinations for e-cards that they've been issuing or something like that. Just send us an email if there's a new barcode associated with your or barcode prefix and length. We authenticate based on prefix and length. So if you have a new prefix and length, maybe you add a card, combination in the next month or so, just send us an email and let us know, and we'll get that added right away.
Okay,
So is it your address, Lauren, directly, or is there a help, a regular help?
Yeah, there's also support. I put our support email address in there as well. If you email support, I might recognize it, but I'm not on the support distribution list. So if you email them, you might want to include a link or tell them you're with Mid-Michigan Library League, because when we go in and search for the library name specifically in our database, it won't necessarily bring up the individual library because you're accessing through Mid-Michigan. So just tell them you're with Mid-Michigan Library League.
Right.
So since you said we don't have prefixes, our library codes are only 4 digits long. So is that going to be a problem for us then?
I don't think so,
that
Amy.
One's Luther, and I think honestly we've had them all tested to see if they're working, but you may want to go in and test right after today and make sure that we've got you sorted properly. That's my answer. Sorry, Lauren.
No, that's fine. It's not an issue if you only have 4. Your cards are only 4 digits. We do have other ways. So if you don't have a prefix and length, we do have a way to add basically a barcode range. So if they were 4 digits, we could put in like number 1000 to 9999. That's basically how we can support cards like that. Or if they fall into a specific range, just let us know what that range is. If it's like 1000 to 1999, just let us know, and we can get that added for you. But Amy, if you want to send me an email directly just to make sure too, if you try and register and it doesn't work, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
What we wanted. Thank you, Lauren, very much for your time.
You're welcome. I hope that was informative for everyone. To kind of get a brief overview of the program.
It was great. Thank you.
Last minute quick questions. It's good to go. We've got we know how to get you, Lauren. So thank you so much.
Perfect. You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.